morning. You're listening to Insurance Matchmaking, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance. And now, sharing his knowledge, here's your host, Matt Libby.
All right, good morning. Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking. If you listened to the show last week, you met Becca Duncan, who does A1 Trainer. Why do I keep saying A1? AI Trainer 101. I guess I'm thinking about the 101 already. AI as in artificial intelligence. She's not creating robots that won't open the pod bay door or anything like that, but she's helping, especially her passion is helping nonprofits with figuring out how to use AI to make their business more efficient. And I think you mentioned when we talked before on the show that it was it was a way to streamline and speed up the grant writing process.
Right. That is how it started. But now I just see so many different things. One of the things that I went over to Maryville and was teaching someone just a couple of weeks ago on is I have found a way that elderly people can document their stories without ever typing. They can just talk to it.
And then have it.
And then I can go in and take their transcripts and turn it into their life book. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
People who may have a terminal illness, new parents, elderly people who, they're going to die with their stories.
Right.
And so I'm trying to also help preserve those.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah, and you said you went to Maryville to meet with this person, and I just kind of thought you were just doing everything local. So where have you been, or where do you go, or are you willing to go to conduct your classes?
Well, for the right amount of money, I'm willing to go anywhere. I was just in Hilton Head, and was setting up things there as well.
Okay, awesome.
So I'm willing to go anywhere. I think that the demand is everywhere right now, and so I am able to do classes out of the Gold Building in Nashville. So that's on Briley Parkway, and there's a conference center there. And here locally, I do the classes at Biz Foundry or at private businesses.
Okay.
And when I went to Maryville, a lot of people will know Wanda Fitzpatrick, who used to own Scarecrow Inn. And that's who I went. Her family here has a very deep-rooted history in Overton County. And she just turned 89 this month. And I want her to be able to document as much of that as possible.
You mentioned Overton County. Are you familiar with the Millard Oakley Library?
Yes, I am, actually. I cooked in his house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yes.
Well, the reason I brought that up was my Medicare 101s. I haven't used that facility in a while, but they have the Union Bank room that's an addition to the library. Huge meeting room.
Oh, okay.
And, and they have the big screen, and so...
I'm also in the Rotary, so I have been to several of the Rotary within like 50 miles of us.
Oh, okay,
I've gone in and just showed them just real briefly, in 15 or 20 minutes, what it will do. Just keep getting people's brains ticking.
Now, one of the things... We talked about where she's willing to go and talking about different venues that she's used for her training, because this is one of the things that makes, I think, Becca, unusual is not maybe the unique. That's a little more polite way to say, is she does in-person training on these. Most people who are going to give training on AI, and, they're probably millennials and they want to do everything online. And it's like, well, the people that are intimidated by AI, or the older generation, boomers like myself, like that in person, and that's what she does. She actually conducts most of her classes in person, and that is unique in this field. There's a lot of AI experts out there, and you're going to pay to be on one of their webinars. In a lot of times, and if you're not skilled in that way, you don't know how to put your questions in the chat. Just use electronic feed. It's like, if you knew how to do all that, you probably wouldn't be looking for help. So I love the fact that you do this in person, and you've got different places that you're doing
and then my volunteers, a lot of my volunteers are older. They don't like me to say that, but 75 and up at Helping Hands. And I just can't wait to show them the next thing when it comes out. So I have one that practices her Italian with AI. I have another one that she can just easily search all of her flowers through AI. And it just, the list goes on and on, because you can pretty much do just about anything now.
Well, speaking of AI, I also noticed I get a little frustrated with the stuff when I realize that my phone is listening to me and then things come up. And you're probably familiar with Claymore Mines?
Yes.
Okay. I was driving to an event, a meeting, and my office manager, Bree, was riding with me. And I just, started, I wasn't able to point it out because it was on, but a pickup truck had I say his, I'm sure it was probably a veteran and a guy, because it's kind of a guy kind of thing. The trailer hitch. He had plugged his trailer hitch instead of having the trailer ball sticking out. Anyway, it had a Claymore mine stuck in it. And some of my listeners probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but some of you may not. A Claymore mine is an anti-personnel mine that is triggered by a switch. It's, like in the movies, you see, we got to be careful to balance your weight because it's going to blow up as soon as you move. These here, you actually trigger them. And it's kind of curved. And it's got probably, I guess it's C4. I don't know what else. And it has projectiles that it shoots out. And it's curved to the front. And it says right on it, front towards enemy. And so I was commenting on that instance. And not an hour later, I was pulled up something on my phone. And it was ad for like ring doorbell kind of thing. And that's what it was. It was like push the button, and it was like you push the button to hit the mine. And it was kind of, it's just funny how I was just talking about this, an hour or so ago, and that's an ad that pops up in my Facebook feed.
Right. Well, and geofencing runs the same way. I'm not sure if you're familiar with geofencing.
Yeah, a little bit.
But if you have something on your phone and you come within X amount of feet of a place, they can detect that it is on your phone, and therefore they can hit you with whatever ads it is that pertain to that. And people will say, I'm never using AI. No, that's going to take over the world, whatever. You still have to have a human to make it work, but we're using AI. If you use Siri, if you put your car in reverse and it beeps because someone's back there or something's back there, when we pull up to a street light and the light changes, that's all AI generated. So they may think that they don't want to use it, but I would just highly recommend that they look into it, because it's not going anywhere and our lives will change, whether we want them to or not. And so I just say it's better to know and to make the decision than to not know and make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things my car will do is if I get too close behind somebody, it puts the brakes on. It's a little frustrating sometimes because, I've had, instance where the light changed, and so you're accelerating, this car in front of me, turning, and I know I can speed up because I'm going to be past that car, but it's like the radar on the car goes, oh, no, don't go yet. And I can feel the gas pedal will, bounce in my on my foot because it's trying to not accelerate. The other one is the cruise control. And I finally figured out there was a way I could kind of adjust the distance on it. Because what happens is it will slow you down if somebody's in front of you and maintain your distance. And so you're going along,
then it makes it hard.
And because you feel like, hey, I'm going along with the flow. I've been behind this truck for a while. Oh, I think I'm going to pass them. And when I think I'm going to pass them, now there's a big long line of people are passing me. And I'm going 10 miles an hour less than what my cruise control was set. But I have to wait until all those other cars pass now before I get around that truck. And so that got a little frustrating.
Well, one of the other things, too, that I posted that I think that you may have seen, but now Claude, which is a different platform, LLM, they have come out with something called a project, so you can upload items in there and then you can work off of those items. So one of the things that I posted is if someone were to take your insurance policy, they can upload that up to 500 pages in there and then ask it questions about that policy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And you can ask it specifically does my policy cover this? And if so, where is it listed in the policy?
Oh, nice.
And so you don't have to go through the 79 pages of whatever. You just upload it in there, ask it questions, and then it is best to go back and review. Ask them where to find it, and then go back and just double check the information that you've been given.
We all do when we get, we update the operating system on our phones or things like that. Then they always say, click, that you read and understand the terms. And it's like, I want to say nobody, but most of us do not read those.
Right.
Lawyers will read them. I don't know. That's why I know I would never have made it as a lawyer.
No, me neither.
Reading something like that just doesn't work. My wife kind of laughs at me because they say when I'm reading, they can see my lips move. And it's like, and that's why I read slow, because I'm reading at like a speaking rate versus reading quickly. And so when I was a kid, I wouldn't even pick up a book generally if it was really thick. I enjoy reading, and I've read some books that are very thick, but there's times that I wouldn't have even started a lot of books just because if I know I can't finish reading this book in a week,
right,
I'm not going to read it.
Well, and if you have a PDF of it, now you can upload it and ask for a summary in about 15 seconds.
Right.
They'll give you the summary of the whole thing.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned like the insurance policy, because that's one of the things I realize, and it may be something I need to do, even do it like as a service for clients of the summary of benefits. It's called a summary of benefits, but it's usually 60 or 70 pages, magazine size pages of a document. Digest it down and say, here's the highlights of your plan. And that's something I could share with my clients. Again, like I said, Medicare, I have a lot of older clients.
Right.
Just signed up yesterday for a program that I'm using it's technically, it's classified as a survey. One of the big things we run into is reviewing people's drug plans. And so, and then the other thing is we need to have a document called a scope of appointment 48 hours prior to meeting with someone who's on Medicare to discuss their plans. So now I can send them a link, I can text it, I can email it, and they can just go in and it asks the questions, and then it's like, sometimes they have to do like some typing, but one of the it'll ask about their prescriptions. And I guess this is probably not really AI, but all they got to do is type in the first few letters of the prescription they're taking, and then it'll pop up, is this the one you're looking for? And so they spell it correctly, because it's really hard to do that over the phone with people.
Right.
Or the other thing is, or they show up to the office and say, okay, so we need to try to figure out which drug plan works. What are your prescriptions? Oh, I didn't realize I was going to need that. It's like, so now you can't really do a valid presentation, because what prescriptions they take can make a big difference. So what plan is the one that's going to fit them?
Right.
So it just helps us set up that process to be prepared for, and we can be prepared for an appointment. And that, because that's one of the most time-consuming things we do during enrollment season, is reviewing their prescriptions. And we can get this information and put it in the search tool, and that way we can come back and go, oh, I thought maybe I was going to recommend this plan, but I think I'm going to recommend this plan now based on you updating your prescription list. So those are some things that we can do there. So I'm watching the clock this time. We are coming up on the break here, and we'll be right back after these commercials.
Hi, this is Marvin Long, your local Twin Lakes Business Solutions consultant. As fall kicks off and football season heats up, it's also prime time to score big with Twin Lakes Fiber Internet for your business. Enjoy lightning-fast gig speeds, priority service, and top-notch local tech support. It's the ultimate game changer that will amp up your team's efficiency and ensure your customers get an unbeatable experience. Give me a call today at 931-476-2151 or visit twinlakes.net to explore the winning plays Twin Lakes has for your business.
Experience the essence of locally owned excellence at Stonehouse Winery. Stop by today for a delightful free wine tasting experience where every sip tells a story. From bold reds like the Davenport Red to crisp whites like Aaron Tippin's Ready to Rock Riesling to dessert wines like the Raspberry Mist, you're sure to find something you love. Drop in to Stonehouse Winery for a free wine tasting. Exit 320 Genesis Road in Crossville or StonehouseWinery.com. Stonehouse Winery. Savor the experience.
Discover family fun and unforgettable memories at Cedarwood Pumpkin Patch. Enjoy the pumpkin train, petting zoo, corn maze, super slides, and more. All included with admission. Visit us at 2900 Old Nashville Highway, McMinnville. Get your pumpkin on at Cedarwood Pumpkin Patch.
And now, back to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby Insurance.
Welcome back to Insurance Matchmaking with my guest, Becca Duncan, with AI Trainer 101. I didn't say A1 this time. We were talking before the break about how there's some AI aspects to the people updating their prescription lists. And I have an answer for your concern, but go ahead and talk about your concern there, and then I will.
So I just, one of the things with AI that I do always make sure that I clarify is not to upload personal data, yours, or if you have a business, other people's personal data. For instance, I could upload data from Helping Hands as long as I don't have any names or any identifiable stuff in order to get statistics, and that's okay, but not for the other. For something like the drug plans, they could literally go into AI and just push the microphone on ChatGPT and tell them all the prescriptions that they're on, and it'll just create that document for them. And if you've already given them a document, they can include a photo of that, and they'll merge the two together so that your document is now filled out properly the way that you need it.
Yeah. Well, in the system we use, the safeguards are there because we have to be, what they call HIPAA compliant.
Right.
And so the programs are set up with that security already in there that, when they put their data in there, it comes to me. It doesn't go everywhere, but it's having that prescription list is just that takes the most time to try to figure out the plans. And unfortunately, this year we've got some carriers that decided they're not going to pay us for doing that anymore either. So it's like we still have to take care of our clients and try to help our prospective clients, but it's very frustrating that when you're spending half the time of your meeting with them is figuring out which drug plan is going to work for them, and then we don't even get paid for doing that. It's so it's nice to get all that, as much information as we can before, because we can input that data into the search parameters and figure out what plan works for them.
Because AI can also, like, you can download a CSV or you can take like a Google Sheets or Excel and change it over to CSV and ask it to format and clean the data to analyze it. And then you can tell it how to analyze it, or you can just ask it to analyze it however it sees fit. And it may come up with something that you didn't even realize was an analysis of the data. And so I just try to remind people, if you're doing that kind of thing, it's awesome because it analyzes awesome, and you can make all the charts and graphs and everything out of it, but just make sure don't put people's regular data in there, because these platforms are not secure. Like yours would be, or if you have an LLM that's just on your desktop, that's separate than just using a public one. Right.
Well, I talked to a lady this week, actually one of the ones I'd mentioned prior, that I ended up calling her to try to clarify a couple things. And she's like, "Are you, why would I tell you that? I don't, it's like, I'm the person that that your friend called, but I wasn't available. It's like, I didn't just call you out of the blue. I'm calling you because you and your friend called my office asking for my help."
Right.
And I came back and I told her, I said, "No, I appreciate that you're concerned, because unfortunately, so many people do get taken advantage of."
Absolutely.
I told them, actually, I don't know if the show was aired yet. It might have been the one I had kind of back. Not a client, but it was a referral from another client. She had gotten a call, and the lady that called her said she was with such and such insurance company, which was the same parent company of her husband's group insurance plan, and she was on Medicare because of disability. Some people go on early, and anyway, she enrolled her in a plan, and she told her everything was going to be free, and everything wasn't free, and she dropped out of her husband's group plan that was covering her very well, but they were paying extra to have her on his plan. So now she's stuck. She can't get back on that plan, and she's got really expensive drug costs because of the prescriptions that she's on. She was better off on her husband's employer plan. And that's one of the things I always tell people. It pains me sometimes, but a lot of times I'll meet with somebody and go, "Oh, I would love to get paid to put you on a plan, but I'm not messing with what you've got. You need to stay there." Where this person that called her, all she cared about was making another sale. But she thought she was talking to somebody from her insurance company. I represent a lot of companies, but I'm an independent broker. I don't say I'm with ABC Insurance. I say I'm with Matt Libby Insurance, and then we'll find a plan, hopefully, that will work for you. And that's the great thing. So I love working with people who are turning 65, and we have the different avenues. They can do keep their original Medicare and have a Medicare supplement that they pay extra for, or they can decide to go with the zero premium Medicare Advantage that includes their drug coverage and has all those little extra benefits on. And there's pluses and minuses for both sides, and I cover that with people. The great news is I'm going to get paid with either way they go. Whichever plan they pick, I'm going to get paid something. So I get rewarded for my time, but I also make sure that they got the plan that they're going to be happy with, not just, hey, this one's going to pay me more, so I'm going to put you on that.
Right.
One of my sayings I'll say is, I'm not going to make enough off of you to retire, so I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
I may not make any money working with you, or I may make less than I would if you did something, but it all adds up. And that's, yes, I'm in this to make a living. I am a salesman, but we do what's called consultative sales, and there's no high pressure. And like I said, if I feel that, if I find that what you have is what you should stay on, I will tell you, because you're just going to be mad at me if I switch you, and then that's going to cost me more in the long run. And I get referrals that way too.
Right.
I've got a guy that gives me referrals because I helped his mom. And I'm looking back through my records and I go, I think I helped his mom, but I didn't sign her up on anything. But she sent me referrals because I helped her. I was honest with her. And so, hey, I'm going to send my friends because I trust you. So I trust you enough for them. So it works out. That works out too.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
How did you get involved? You've mentioned Helping Hands a lot. That's kind of how you got into doing the AI trainer business. How did you get involved with Helping Hands? You mentioned you were in Rotary. Was that an extension of being in Rotary already?
No, my mom was, so the lady that had been there for like 14 years was retiring, and there was no one that was like stepping up to take over as a director. Uh-huh. And so my mom was volunteering there a couple hours a week, and she, at 76, said, I will try, but she had done anesthesia as her career. Oh, uh-huh. And she said, I'll try, because there was no one else. And so she taught herself Excel using Google and Siri, and she taught herself a PC. She had only ever used a Mac computer and all of those things. So after I quit working in Nashville, I came back here, and I ended up being her assistant, and we worked together. And then she came to me after about a year, and she said, I don't mind doing the job, but I don't want the responsibility. Can we switch? And you take over as director, and I'll be the assistant. So now at 79, she's my assistant.
Okay.
And
but still active in the
very.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she's there about 15 hours a week. And then we run, other than the two of us, we run strictly on volunteers.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for volunteers. I'll put that plug out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But we love it. We have a lot of fun, and a lot of our volunteers have been there for years.
You mentioned your volunteers. What are some tasks, or what some of the things your volunteers help you with?
Yeah, so we have volunteers that answer the phone, book appointments. All of our clients have to have an appointment. We take Social Security cards, driver's license, so it's not just like drive through, get your food box. We try to make sure that the people that we're serving are people that are in need. And so each one of them is interviewed every time that they come in. So we have a volunteer that when we're open, that makes appointments. We have one that interviews, and then we have people that make all of the food boxes. We have people that pick up. Publix is our number one local provider. I will also give them a plug. Okay. They are just a huge supporter of several organizations here in town. We're just one of them. We probably get on average 350 or more pounds of meat a week from Publix, and we pick up twice a week, and they have organizations here locally that pick up 7 days a week. So they are giving a lot to this community.
Now, do they donate things that like maybe coming up close to their expiration? They want to make sure at least, hey, somebody's getting some of this versus, 2 days later we have to throw it out.
So Publix is unique in the fact that their two big things are community and quality. So if they grind ground beef at Publix, at this particular Publix, it only stays on the shelf for 24 hours, and it's frozen then for a community partner.
Oh, okay.
If it's ground meat that has come in, it can stay up to 48 hours, and then it's frozen. So they will freeze it long
freeze it before they would have to toss it. So now they because they generally aren't going to sell it frozen.
Right. They will freeze it long before it goes bad. Mm-hmm. It's just they will not keep it on their shelves due to the quality. They will not sell that, and so it immediately gets frozen. So the meat and the baked goods and stuff like that we get are perfect.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. It just does not meet their criteria to sell to their customers.
Now, where do you store this? You have like freezers and stuff at your office?
We do. We're located right across from Bobby Q's on the square, right off of the square. And I think we have 11 freezers. Something like that. So yes, we have freezers. We gave out 143,000 pounds of food last year.
Wow.
So we gave almost 90,000 in rental and utility assistance.
What is your vetting process to determine if people are worthy or needy of the assistance?
Yeah,
so you don't just have people going.
So food,
abusing the system.
we pretty much will give food to anyone. Food is food. If you're hungry, then you're hungry. But our process for like rental assistance and things like that, we have rules in place. For instance, they must be Putnam County residents.
Okay.
If they're looking for rent, they have to bring in at least double their income net as their rent is. And a lot of people will say, well, if I made twice my rent, I wouldn't need help. Yeah. But if you don't, then you're going to need help again next month. Right. So we have to figure out, like, you either need new job, less expensive place, roommate, like those kinds of things. And then utilities, we do the same thing. We kind of go through the process of, why do you need help this month? What is different about this month?
Yeah.
And so you can usually we allow 20 minutes per family. So you can usually get a good sense of what is going on with them. And I always stress what I want people to understand is that it is not necessarily homeless people or people who are not working that come to us. A lot of times it is people that are working 40 hours a week and it's just not enough anymore.
Right.
Or seniors who've retired and now it's not enough.
All right. Well, believe it or not, we're almost at the end here. You mentioned how to get a hold of AI training. Mm-hmm. What Helping Hands? If somebody's not familiar with that, what's
sure.
How to get a hold
Helping
of you?
Hands is 526-3838, and we only take appointments, and we prefer to do those over the phone because when people walk in, then it makes it tough. Well, it just makes it tough because we're trying to vet them to see if they even qualify for the appointment, and we're trying to serve who does already have the appointment. So we appreciate if they call and make that appointment.
Well, that's our hour here today, or end of our second half hour. Again, insurancematchmaking.com, and until next week, see you on the radio.
You've been listening to Insurance Matchmaking with Matt Libby, your path to health, life, and Medicare coverage with Matt Libby Insurance.